Hi everyone, my name is Nick Mann. I'm part of the software development team here at Synchro. I'd first like to thank everyone for joining us today. We have a great topic to cover and we're glad you could make it. Just one quick thing before we get started, I do want to remind everyone that we will be continuing this series throughout the summer. We've got a lot of really interesting topics we plan to cover, so I encourage everyone to go to our website and check those out, and you can register for any of those right there on the site. With that, we'll get started. Today, I am introducing Greg Demchek, our Director of Product Management, who will be covering Automatching. Automatching is the process of automatically linking your 3D model to your schedule using custom user fields in Synchro. If anyone has any questions during the demonstration, feel free to enter those in the chat window, and we will answer as many as we can at the end of the demo. Again, welcome, and thank you for joining us, and I will now pass it over to Greg to get started.
All right, thanks, Nick. All right, what I'm going to show today is how to leverage user fields and parameters, data, to link 3D objects to tasks. So I'm going to start with, from the context of Revit, which is the CAD system, and we're going to use parameters of the elements in the CAD system to basically drive linkage instead of doing a manual process. So the first thing I want to point out, this is a simple model. I've got some rooms set up here, and what I've created is a custom project parameter called room number. And it's an instance parameter of type text applied to every category in this Revit model. And so basically what that means is each element, like this wall, can be assigned a value, room number. Same thing with the door. And if I look at my plan view, I've also assigned a value to the room element itself. So room number there. So I have placed rooms here. The reason I want to use the rooms tool, rooms, is we can, through the plugin from Revit, we can choose to export workspaces. What that's going to do is create a workspace, a location resource, inside of Synchro based on these rooms. And I'm also going to limit my user fields out of Revit to just this parameter that we created. So that's going to make it a bit easier to work with Automatching if we can focus in on the parameters that are most useful for scheduling. All right, one note just on that export for the rooms while I'm here. You do want to turn on area and volume calculations from the Revit interface. This radio button here is what's going to allow Synchro to construct volumes for the room. So I'll go back to Revit and I'm going to export my Automatch file. Come into Synchro and import my file. Okay, so there now you can see those purple objects. That's the location, that's the room. And we have our walls, data structure as you'd expect coming in. Now one thing I'm going to do is customize this column list so you can see that there's our room number parameter. Okay, so that's the one we're interested in. And there you can see the values are filled in from the import. Okay, but now let's make some tasks. So we'll do install room 1. Get 3 days, and we'll make a task for each room. And we'll make them all 3 days. Here, there we go. And to create a logical set of links. All right, so there's our logic, our rooms. Now, traditionally, in a non-auto-match workflow, you could drag and drop objects from this list over here, the resources, or you could select objects directly in the 3D viewpoint and drag them to the task. And that's a sort of very manual process. It's not driven by data, just what's in your head. So the point of auto-matching is to use parameters to drive information. So I'm going to add a user field called room number to the tasks category of type string. And similar to how I turned on the column in the resources, I'm going to also show the room number column here in the task. So that's my custom parameter. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 room number parameters at the task. I've also got them at the resource. And this is where Automatching comes in. So up here in the Home tab, I've got Automatch. Make a new room matching rule. I'm going to add an expression which is going to take a resource attribute of type user field room number and match that to a task attribute of type user field room number. Save that. And I'm going to do a many-to-many relationship because I've got walls, doors, and rooms that I want to match to different tasks. Okay, this is my appearance profile. I'm going to use just install, but you could set that to a different profile here if you have to. And I'm going to search. Now what the search just found is for each task you can see it is going to get assigned all these elements. A room, 3 walls, and a door. So that looks pretty good. For each task, I'm getting a number of objects assigned. So if I hit assign all, it says 21 assignments have been created. I'm going to hit OK. And now if I move through my task, we see the rooms now getting installed. Now one thing I left here on purpose is some unassigned objects in the Revit file. So imagine that you've maybe got an update from a Revit file where some user in the Revit model forgot to assign a value to the element. So this wall was missing a parameter, so therefore it didn't match. So rather than having to go all the way back to Revit, which you could do and assign that value, you can actually update this field directly inside of Synchro using this table. So by exposing the values here, we can just find the missing value. So this wall is blank. So if I assign that 1, and we see these rooms are also still visible, they're missing numbers. So if we just go 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and rerun the auto match, now it's going to pick up those objects that we missed the first time. I'm going to assign all. And all my objects are gone in the view because they've all been assigned to tasks. All right, so it's a very sort of data-centric way of working with your tasks and your 3D objects. And with that, I am happy to take any questions. All right, thank you everybody for joining today. I know that's a quick demo, and there's a lot more we can get into in a future webinar, but hopefully you can see the value and the power of auto-matching 3D objects, resources to tasks. All right, thank you, and I'll see you next time.